Shifting focus now to the other battlefield. Russia has been flooding Ukraine with missiles, drones, those relentless attacks. But the biggest threat may not be the biggest or the most expensive weapon in Moscow's arsenal. Let's tell you about a new, cheaper cruise missile, which is now appearing more often on the battlefield, hitting Ukrainian targets while forcing air defenses to fight a war of numbers. And as Russia fires more missiles than ever, Ukraine is striking back deep inside Russian territory. Our next report decoding this for you.
The war in Ukraine is becoming a numbers game. More missiles, more drones, more targets, and more pressure on air defenses. Russia has just fired more missiles at Ukraine in a single month than ever before. An AFP analysis says Moscow launched 376 missiles in July. That is more than double the number recorded in June. But one number stands out: 126 ballistic missiles. For comparison, Russia fired somewhere between 200 and 300 ballistic missiles during the whole of 2024. Now, Moscow has launched 126 in just 1 month. The escalation has been brutal. On July 2nd, a Russian attack on Kyiv killed 30 people in one of the deadliest strikes on the Ukrainian capital. And behind this massive bombardment, a new weapon is becoming increasingly important: the Banderol. This is a relatively cheap cruise missile that Russia is reportedly using alongside larger missile and drone attacks. Its maximum speed is 620 to 650 kilometers per hour, while its cruising speed is 520 to 560 kilometers per hour and range of 500 kilometers. The weapon has been reportedly used particularly against Odessa and its critical port and grain infrastructure. Why does that matter? Because Russia does not always need to fire its most expensive missiles. It can send cheaper weapons in large numbers. The goal is saturation. Ukraine's air defenses have to detect every incoming threat, track it, identify it, and then decide whether to fire an expensive interceptor. This comes at a time when Ukraine is running very low on anti-missile defense systems like the Patriot. If Russia can send waves of low-cost cruise missiles alongside drones and ballistic missiles, it can force Ukraine to spend far more money defending itself. But Ukraine is not sitting still. Ukrainian drones continue to strike deep inside Russia. Kyiv has also increased its attack on Russia-annexed Crimea. Moscow says several people, including children, were killed in the attack. Ukrainian strike again targeted a warehouse belonging to the Russian e-commerce giant Wildberries. Since mid-July, Ukraine has struck around 20 sites belonging to Wildberries, which is also known as Amazon of Russia. So the war is escalating in both directions. Russia is increasing the volume of its missile campaign. Ukraine is expanding its drone strikes, and the battlefield is becoming a war of industrial endurance. Who can build more? Who can launch more, and who can force the other side to spend more defending itself? The Banderol may be cheaper than Russia's biggest missiles, but that could be exactly what makes it dangerous, because in this war, the weapon that costs less may ultimately cost Ukraine much more. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Trump is taken yet another U-turn. He has paused his strikes on Iran once again. But for how long this time? Donald Trump late on Saturday said that he would halt new planned attacks on Iran pending renewed talks to wind down the war and also revive the stalled traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. But then there is a clear pattern here. The latest on that long list of announcements that the president has made to first threaten massive strikes, only to later call them off. A series of U-turns, and these shifts have in a way become a defining feature of this conflict that has sent prices of oil and basic goods soaring. And what's even more intriguing is that the announcements to date have been appended by renewed attacks, sometimes days or even hours afterwards. Will that happen this time as well is the big question. Also, what really triggered the shift this time? While Trump has said the US has agreed to pause attacks on Iran, let's tell you more about what he said at that point. Quoting, "We have just been asked by Iran and other Middle Eastern countries to hold off any attack in the perimeters of a deal has been agreed to. This would include the immediate, complete and total opening of the Hormuz Strait and an end to Iran's nuclear threat." He also said the US was locked and loaded and ready to go, but that he agreed to cancel attacks, subject to being able to rapidly make a deal. And then on Sunday, Trump said requests for more time from Iranian officials and leaders in Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the UAE had helped shape his decision. He further said, quoting, "It would have been disastrous for them and they did not want us to do it," quote unquote. At least that's what he has said. Before we get to what's been happening behind the scenes, the Saudi Crown Prince reportedly also spoke with Trump over the phone on Saturday. And according to the Saudi state news agency, he reportedly told him that dialogue was needed to de-escalate those tensions in the region and expressed concern over plans for new strikes against Iran. Meanwhile, Iran's acting Minister of Defense has said that the US remarks should be viewed as psychological and cognitive warfare. Interestingly, Iran on Monday earlier also said that no talks with America were underway and that no meetings were planned. And this, by the way, also contradicts Trump's claim that discussions would take place later in the day, a reason that he cited for calling off those planned attacks. So what's really happening behind the scenes? Rather than seeking a decisive military victory, according to analysts, Iran is reportedly pursuing a strategy of calibrated escalation aimed at widening the conflict without actually triggering a full-scale war. What's the goal really? According to analysts, it's reportedly to convince America and its allies that containing this crisis is more costly than accommodating Iran's demands over the Strait of Hormuz. And on America's side, what really has been happening behind the scenes? Let's take you beyond the headlines and decode those developments for you. For a while now, it has already seemed like Trump started a war he does not quite know how to end. So what's the strategy there? According to a CNN report now, an officer in U.S. Central Command's intelligence branch reportedly sent out a request saying they are looking for new, creative and unconventional ways to pressure and punish Iran. Reportedly sent to a broad group of military analysts. The report cited a source as saying that a senior U.S. military officer sent that message last week, soliciting new ideas for how to deal with Iran. So is Trump then running out of ideas and options on the way forward? Also, while he might say that he paused those strikes since he does not want to kill people, the reasons brewing for a while behind the scenes have been quite obvious, including America's depleting stockpiles, many Americans depleting patience with the ongoing war as well, and also the ties and debt as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, being a crucial factor. As the conflicts in Iran and Ukraine also strain U.S. weapon stockpiles, the Pentagon earlier said the U.S. Army had awarded Lockheed Martin a contract worth up to $58.6 billion to produce Patriot interceptor missiles. According to a Reuters report earlier, in fact, U.S. officials reportedly privately cautioned that resuming major combat operations against Iran would carry risk given the negative impact on stocks of munitions. Also, the Center for Strategic and International Studies The Washington-based think tank estimated earlier that the U.S. military has fewer than 1,000 Patriot interceptor missiles and fewer than 250 Thar interceptors, which are two key air defense systems. Has supplied large quantities of weapons to allies while also using munitions in its own military operations in Iran. And there have been serious concerns raised about the inventories of key air defense and precision-guided weapons, which have only intensified. Of course, the big factor being the midterm elections. Time was already running out for Trump, it seems now. So are his options. On to a special report. The mountains are believed to be unforgiving. Every year, we see trekkers and climbers get injured or even face the worst outcomes, including losing their lives. The Karakoram range has spoken once again, but with a deadly force. Broad Peak, which is the world's 12th highest mountain located in that range, towering over 8,000 meters above sea level, has become the scene of one of mountaineering's darkest tragedies. A massive avalanche ripping down Broad Peak last week. It did more than claiming 6 Nepalese lives. It wiped out one of the most accomplished generations of high-altitude heroes that the country has produced. It's been a tragic loss. Experts say Nepal has rarely suffered such concentrated loss of internationally recognized and highly accomplished climbers in a single mountain disaster. This is more than just an accident. It's the huge loss of an entire generation of mountaineering excellence. Men who had guided hundreds to the world's highest summits. They carried flags across Everest, K2 and beyond. Now claimed by a mountain they knew all too well. And among those dead is the world-renowned mountaineer, widely known as Nimsdai, along with 5 elite Nepali mountain guides whose experience, their skills, helped shape modern Himalayan climbing. They were legends. He served with Britain's Brigade of Gorkhas before joining the Special Boat Squadron of the Royal Marines. He has broken multiple climbing records since becoming a full-time mountaineer and tour guide. He has climbed all 14 of the world's 8,000-meter peaks in just 189 days in 2019. The other Nepali climbers who have lost their lives tragically in the avalanche, including Pur Bahadur Gurung, Hilipemba, Galu and Navang Thendu. Most had completed dozens of successful ascents of Everest and other 8,000-meter peaks, with several earning global recognition for their achievements. Although Broad Peak is often considered less technically difficult than K2 or Annapurna, experienced mountaineers warn that this perception can be dangerously misleading. One of its greatest hazards is the Falls Summit, as it's called, located at approximately 8,035 meters. Exhausted climbers battling extreme cold and severe oxygen deprivation often mistake this point for the true summit. In reality, the actual summit requires another 2-hour traverse along an extremely narrow ridge with 1,000-meter drops on both sides. A single misstep or a sudden gust of wind, perhaps, can have fatal consequences. In fact, the Karakoram range is not officially part of the Himalayas, but its weather is harsher and more unpredictable than much of the Himalayas. Climbers face violent jet stream winds, rapidly changing conditions, sudden avalanches capable of destroying established camps in the infamous death zone, as it's called. The route also includes steep snow and rock sections where fixed ropes are essential. Even a small error in rope placement, perhaps, or movement could place an entire team at risk. And this tragedy is a powerful reminder that no amount of experience can actually eliminate the unpredictable dangers that come with high mountain trekking. Broad Peak also demands far more than physical strength as such. It tests a climber's patience, judgment, focus, resilience, and respect for nature at its most unforgiving.